Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for our June 29th bi-weekly Hangout on Air series. Today we are covering Enhanced Ecommerce for Google Analytics Premium. So I'm Krista Seiden, Analytics Advocate with Google, and today I'm joined by Product Manager Marcia Jung, and we're going to have a great conversation about this. So before we get started, just a quick reminder, as always, please submit your questions. So you can do that in two ways. You can use the Hangouts on Air chat box during the session live and go ahead and, as questions come up, enter them in the chat window and we'll make sure that we can get to them at the end. Or if you'd rather, there's a form and the form link is here. It's also in the invite in case you miss it. And you can go ahead and submit your questions through the form as well. So either way, definitely submit your questions. We'd love this to be as interactive as possible. So jumping right in, when I think about e-commerce or an e-commerce website, I think about questions like this, like where and why are users falling out of the checkout process? Or how effective are my campaigns at driving users through the shopping funnel? Or even, am I showing the right products on my landing pages? And how are internal promotions impacting sales?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And with Google Analytics, we want to be able to address precisely these types of questions. And so with that in mind, we actually purposely built Enhanced Ecommerce to address the analytic needs of our e-commerce users. And at a high level, Enhanced Ecommerce provides 4 high-level benefits. The first being deep user insights. And here we realize that our users need to have very quick access and an overview of how their users are progressing through the shopping funnel. Mm-hmm. And you can see a quick screenshot of that here. You'll see that we've defined the shopping funnel as all users, and then users who have done product detail views, and then those that have advanced to add items to cart, and then those that have started the checkout process, and then finally those that have transacted. And being able to understand how users are navigating through that funnel, where they're falling out, and importantly, why they're falling out, are exactly the types of questions that we want to allow our users to answer.
That's really cool, and it seems really, really powerful. So what are some of the insights that you can take away from this?
That's a great question. And so what we wanted to enable is really allow our users to leverage the rich dimensionality that Google Analytics provides. Mm-hmm. So again, you're all familiar with segments that users can use to further analyze their data. So in this very simple example, we've actually broken out by device category. So we can see that same shopping funnel, but broken down by desktop, tablet, and mobile users. And very quickly, you can start to get insights like tablet users are starting checkout twice as often as they are on desktop or overall users, and they're actually converting 57% more often. And that's a really interesting insight that you can act upon. So for example, I might remarket or retarget users on tablet devices, even consider bidding up on CPA because I know that they're my high converting users.
That's really cool.
And actually in this very same report, I can take a look at the row below and I can see that mobile users are also starting the checkout process as often as overall users, but they're 40% less likely to convert. And that's, again, another interesting insight that you can leverage so that, for example, I might choose to optimize my checkout process. This is something that I think is a huge trend in the industry. And there are different ways that you can do this, whether that's offering different mobile payment options, a logged in experience. But again, being able to know that that actually is a problem and that you want to act on it is something that Google Analytics can help you with.
Super powerful, especially in the days when mobile really is first. So being able to kind of break that down in this report so simply is really beneficial.
Exactly. And of course, this is just another example where we can see all the other user and session level dimensions that Google Analytics provides so that you can do other types of analysis and get other types of insights into your data. So this quick example is simply showing a breakdown by source medium, so you can see how different channels are driving different types of shopping behavior activity. Mm-hmm. And this is something that's very unique to Enhanced Ecommerce. Previously, you were looking at session counts or event counts and understanding how they correlate with different channels. Now we can get very specific about our vocabulary around users and e-commerce.
Cool.
So the next key benefit that we have with Enhanced Ecommerce is really deep product level performance analysis. And we know that we've really moved beyond kind of screen-based analysis or page-based analysis. And for our e-commerce customers, we really want to allow for really a product-centric view of that data. And that's been really important.
Yeah, so that sounds like a really powerful capability. And I think that really allows us to see things like what are my most popular products and which products are most frequently abandoned in the cart, or even which products are converting well. I think this report is super powerful to answer all of these kinds of questions.
Exactly. So with Enhanced Ecommerce, we're now supporting this notion of a product as what we call a first-class citizen. And what that really means is that we're able to do exactly these types of analyses. And not just kind of on product name or product SKU, we're also able to support all different types of product attributes. So things like product category, brand, variant, and really any custom attribute that's relevant to your business. I can start to do roll-ups and analysis based on those higher level categories. So in this very simple example, I'm able to see how are different categories of products performing on my site. And I can compare that to my site average. So for example, are men's t-shirts really performing X times better in terms of product ads as overall products?
Very cool.
And then, of course, we don't just want to allow for kind of static reporting. We also want you to be able to optimize things on your site or your marketing campaigns. And so one of the key benefits that Enhanced Ecommerce provides is the ability to optimize your on-site merchandising and your on-site or in-app experience. And Krista, maybe you can talk a little bit more about this one.
Absolutely. So optimizing, especially landing pages, is something that's near and dear to my heart. So using this information can really help you understand kind of where you should maybe put some of those different, in this case, pieces of apparel on your website, which performs best where. You can use product lists and understand which products are getting more exposure through the Enhanced Ecommerce reports. Also, you can look at things like which ones are getting more clicks and converted. And if you actually change those around, how does that impact how those sales funnels are actually going all the way through? Or things like, should I showcase other products or reorder them? So super, super powerful to help you understand the actual placement and products that you have on your website and how you can optimize those flows for more checkouts.
Yes, and we've seen that this has been an incredibly powerful feature for some of our Enhanced Ecommerce users. So precisely on-site merchandising teams are using product lists to make different decisions around which products to be highlighting in key areas of their site. And the specific report that they're using is this product list performance report. And very quickly, you can see that in this example, we've categorized different products into product category pages. So we have ones for Android, YouTube, men's t-shirts, but you're able to see how many impressions did different products get on those lists, how many times were they clicked on, and then very importantly, following this through to conversion. So did a user add to cart as a result of interacting with the product on a given product list? And did they ultimately purchase that product? So it's really trying to understand how users are discovering products on your site. So ultimately, you can optimize for like on-site conversions, average order value, a lot of those key KPIs that are important to our users.
Seems like a really powerful report.
And just a quick other piece I wanted to highlight, we do have full support for related products with Enhanced Ecommerce. This is another capability that allows you to really inform things like on-site recommendations, email campaigns, remarketing campaigns. And this is all generated based off of your existing transaction history. And so we'll actually infer relationships around products that we think are co-purchased together, co-viewed together, and make that available to our users so that they can start to take advantage of this type of insight.
Very cool.
And finally, I talked about actionability. We talked already about on-site optimization, but of course, the deep integrations that we have with other Google Ads products is really valuable to our customer base. And with Enhanced Ecommerce, we're actually able to provide even more value through our close integrations.
Yeah, so actually, when I first learned about Enhanced Ecommerce, one of the most exciting things to me was that you could actually create a segment from any step in the funnel of that Enhanced Ecommerce report for various people following out at different stages. So did they follow out at the add to cart stage or at the checkout stage? And actually then create that segment, analyze your reports by it, and also remarket to them. You could set up dynamic remarketing to even pass products back to them in ads that they may have looked at and fallen out at a certain stage of the funnel. I think that is incredibly, incredibly powerful.
Yes. So we're really excited to be able to support both remarketing and specifically dynamic remarketing with Enhanced Ecommerce. And then, of course, we won't have all the time to cover all the different features with Enhanced Ecommerce, but I did want to highlight that we do have other capabilities, again, specifically built for our e-commerce customers, being able to do analysis of coupons, affiliates, refunds, internal promotions. And then, of course, we have full support for Enhanced Ecommerce with Google Tag Manager and other capabilities like product data import. I really encourage you all to take a look at this. This is really a very valuable for our e-commerce user base. But without further ado, I did want to actually do a live demo so that hopefully this comes a bit more to life than just slides. So if we could switch over to the demo screen. And what I've done here is I've just logged into my Google Analytics account. This particular account is associated with the Google Merchandise Store. In fact, you can go ahead and log into that as well and purchase Google branded merchandise. But really what I want to do is showcase the types of analysis that you can do now with Enhanced Ecommerce. And here I've actually enabled Enhanced Ecommerce at my view setting. So now when I go to conversions, e-commerce, I can actually see a whole new set of reports that are that have been developed for Enhanced Ecommerce users. And the first one that I wanted to show you was the shopping behavior report. I think I showed a little bit of this in the slides, but it's, again, giving me a very quick overview into how users are progressing through that funnel. So in the last month, I've had 82,000, roughly 82,000 visits to my site. Again, another 24,000 that had product detail views, another subset that added to cart, started checkout, and finally 474 transactions. And then below that funnel report, I'm able to see a breakout, again, by all the different user and session level dimensions that Google Analytics provides. So here I can see a very quick breakdown of new versus returning users and how they're progressing through the funnel. And again, I can see here other insights into how users from different channels are driving different types of on-site shopping behavior activities. So for example, which channels are driving the most add to carts? Which ones are driving the most checkouts? And based off of this insight, I can start to make key media decisions that are driving specific types of user behavior on site. Of course, you want to do deeper analysis in this as well. So I want to, a key segment of users that I'm very much interested in is being able to understand cart abandoners or checkout abandoners. So these are users that have expressed a certain amount of intent to purchase, and I want to really target those users and then see how I can actually get them back on site and converting. So what we've introduced here is the ability to create these sorts of rich segments directly from the reports themselves.
Wait, so let me just interrupt you here. It looked like all you did there was just click on that cart abandonment part in the report.
Yes, so we want to make this very simple for our users to target the exact segment of users that they're interested in analyzing. So all I did was simply click on that abandonment arrow, and I'm able to create this cart abandoned segment of users. And here I'm going to go ahead and apply it to all my views. And in just a second, I'll actually reload this report. So again, it's targeting cart abandoned users. Second. I think we're having a little bit of lag here. And of course, I could create similar segments from any of the other steps on this particular funnel. So even if I wanted to look at all sessions that included product detail views or checkouts or transactions, I can go ahead and target those specific users. Let me go ahead and try reloading 1 second. And then let me add the segment. And again, here now I've narrowed down on specifically those users that have abandoned cart. And of course, it makes sense here that I'll have zeros for checkouts and transactions because again, I am targeting those sessions where the cart was abandoned. And importantly, that this is built into the entire platform, so I can start to pivot over to any of my other Google Analytics reports. So for example, I may want to look at how do the audience demographics pertain or break out for these cart abandoned users. So I can actually go to my demographics report, and let me go ahead and click Overview. And I can see that for my cart abandoned users, are there any interesting trends here? So I'm able to see that my cart abandoned users are 70% female. A large percent of them are in the 25 to 34 age range bracket. And this is actually very valuable information to start to understand who these users are that I might want to, again, recapture and get them on my site to convert. This can start to inform both my marketing channels and, very importantly, the type of content that you want to promote to this specific subset of users. And actually, to help that even further, I can start to look at other reports, like, let's say, our product performance report, to start to see what specific products were these cart abandoners interested in when they abandoned cart. So here I'm moving over to my product performance report. I've clicked over to the shopping behavior tab, and I can see here, and let me go ahead and sort by product add to carts. And I can see which were the specific products that were most added to cart within this segment. I can see here that laptop and cell phone stickers, YouTube sticker sheets, t-shirts, sunglasses were again the most popular items that were abandoned in cart. And this is, again, the type of content that I may want to include in email remarketing campaigns and dynamic remarketing campaigns for display, so that, again, you can be very specific about the message that you want to include to these users that have abandoned cart.
Yeah, that's similar to what we were talking about earlier with optimizing your on-site merchandising, right?
Exactly. And of course, there are lots of other very interesting and valuable reports within Enhanced Ecommerce. I did want to touch on product list performance reports because, again, that's something that has resonated really well with a lot of our users. So here, let me go ahead and actually remove this segment of cart abandoned users. And I can see that that I've created several different lists for this particular site. Again, these are actually pertaining to category pages. So we have specific landing pages for men's t-shirts, one for a section called Fun, YouTube, Android. Again, this is a Google merchandise store. And I can actually see how many impressions of products were delivered on site for each of these product lists, how many times were products clicked on, how many times were they added to cart as a result of interacting with these products. And of course, I can see this information at the product level or even the product list position level. So again, very granular insights into specifically how products are performing within these product lists.
Very cool.
And then again, I won't go through all of these in full detail, but I did want to show that under the marketing section, you'll see other interesting insights like internal promotion analysis, order coupon codes, product coupon codes, and affiliate codes.
Awesome.
Great. So with that, I think maybe we want to cover some other really interesting examples that some of our users have been using Enhanced Ecommerce for.
Yeah, definitely. So I was at a conference last week in Amsterdam, and one of the fellow keynoters was talking about using, his name is Simo Ohava, really great resource on anything GTM. And he was talking about using Enhanced Ecommerce for blogs because it's a really powerful tool, but he has a blog, not an e-commerce store, right? So what he did was he actually figured out how the terminology with Enhanced Ecommerce actually related to a blog post. So a product was a blog article, and product price was the words in the article. And similarly, you can see all of the terminology here on the screen. There's also a short link out to his blog post on this. But basically what that meant was when you looked at the product performance report, you could actually see like the names of the articles, the dollars or euros, he's European, were like actual words in the blog post. You could see how the number of words in the blog post fared against the popularity going through for like the page views and reaching the end of the article. And then at the end of the day, this is what he was looking at. So people who were reading a blog post and got 1/3 of the way down or 2/3 or finished the blog post. And he was able to see all of that using Enhanced Ecommerce. I thought that was a really, really creative use of Enhanced Ecommerce and something that I want to do on my own blog.
And I've seen this actually with many different Google Analytics Premium users. They're very creative in terms of how they're leveraging our different feature sets. And I have heard of different content providers that are using Enhanced Ecommerce to do precisely this type of analysis. So really trying to analyze content consumption. And again, trying to equate articles or content to products, and then doing that type of deep, article-centric or content-centric analysis.
Yep.
And I've actually even heard of different cable providers, for example, implementing Enhanced Ecommerce using the measurement protocol to understand behavior on set-top boxes, for example.
That's so cool.
So again, a feature that is, again, built for e-commerce customers, but has many different applications and uses, and some even unexpected ones.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I feel like we talked about a lot today. And I know that we have a lot of really great resources out there for our users. So you can definitely find information on Enhanced Ecommerce in the Help Center. So support.google.com/analytics. And Marcia, we have an Analytics Academy course on Enhanced Ecommerce, right?
Yes. So this is something that the education team worked on a few months ago. And it's a resource that's incredibly valuable to all e-commerce users with Google Analytics. And there is also a section on Enhanced Ecommerce specifically. So a great resource for everyone who's interested in getting started with e-commerce analytics and Google Analytics.
Yeah, definitely. And then one other quick plug for the Analytics Academy. We just launched last week our newest Analytics Academy course on Google Tag Manager. Super, super exciting. It's live right now. You can register, and actually, if you complete the course before July 24th, you can get a certificate of completion. And I'm so excited to say we actually have over 25,000 people, 25,000 already registered for this course and taking the Google Tag Manager Fundamentals course. So check out the Analytics Academy, check out the new course, check out the Enhanced Ecommerce course, really exciting. And then finally, the GA Premium community on Google+, which you guys are all part of if you're watching this Hangout on air. That's a great place to answer, look for questions, ask questions, answer them from your fellow peers, and just get information from us as well. So we're pretty active in the community as well. And then you can also reach us on Twitter at Google Analytics. I'm at Krista Seiden. So yeah, with that, I think that we'll go ahead and change it over to Q&A. So again, one more quick plug. Feel free to ask your questions in the Hangout on Air app in the chat box there, and we'll make sure that we get those answered, or you can go ahead and put them in through the form. But ask away, and we're going to sit here for the next several minutes and answer your questions. So, Marcia, I have a question from Andre. And Andre wants to know, what's the earliest point that a product list will get the attribution for the purchase? So is it the product list click, or the detail view, or the add to cart? In other words, if he clicks on a product, does he need to pass through the product list name to the product detail view or add to cart, or is that sufficient that it's recorded at the product list click?
That's a great question, and that's one that I've gotten quite a lot around. What's the underlying attribution model associated with product lists? And what we've defined is that we will only look within a single session. So for example, if I've interacted with a particular product on a product list, so let's make this specific. Let's say I clicked on a pair of Nike shoes on a bestsellers list, and I've actually passed that list along with the click, then I actually don't need to add that to the detail view or the add to cart or the subsequent purchase. We'll actually look back in that same session and look for the last list that was specified for a given product. And one key piece I want to add here is that it does need to be an action. So it does need to be a click, a detail, add to cart, or checkout or purchase. We will not do sort of the equivalent of a view through conversion attribution within the session. So no, you don't need to specify it with every subsequent action. We will automatically do a look back, but we don't look back across sessions.
Awesome. So actually that brings me to a question from Heidi that came in through the HOA, and they wanted to know or said, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you say users, do you actually mean sessions? Because that's what we see in the graph.
Yes. So in the default shopping behavior funnel report and the checkout behavior funnel report, those are session-based currently. You can create a custom funnel for GA Premium users that does define this at the user level. Though currently that default view that I did show is a session level report.
Cool. So Ewan wants to know, should one always use Enhanced Ecommerce, or are there simple shops, for example, only one product, that are better served by standard e-commerce implementation?
Sure. So my recommendation would be to use Enhanced Ecommerce going forward for all implementations. A key point here is that you do not need to implement every feature that we've discussed today. So for your simplest shops, you can absolutely only implement the transaction if there's an order that takes place on site. You don't need to be using product lists or all the other e-commerce actions if they're not relevant to your particular business.
Awesome. So always be using Enhanced Ecommerce. So Vitaly wants to know, how seamless is transition between default and Enhanced Ecommerce integrations? Is the new Enhanced Ecommerce data going to also be in the reports which we are using with default e-commerce now? It's especially important for historical analysis.
Yes, so we will not erase any existing data, of course, that you have sent with the historic e-commerce tracking. And actually, the first step that we would recommend is migrating that order, sort of that transaction hit that happens on the order fulfillment page and move that over to Enhanced Ecommerce. You will need to replace that code and do a hard swap at one point, otherwise you will be double counting those transactions. But besides that, they will be backwards compatible if you're applying, let's say, a report that's only looking at revenue. Of course, all of these other kind of shopping behavior specific reports will be empty for historical dates, but going forward, you'll be able to see kind of that richer view of how users are behaving once you've implemented Enhanced Ecommerce. One other piece I would probably want to highlight there is that your segment definitions may need to change a bit, but we have different techniques to make sure that you're able to pull back the right data across your different date ranges. So there are some careful steps that you want to make that you want to take when migrating to Enhanced Ecommerce, though you won't lose any ability to do the types of analysis that you need to do on historical data.
Great. So we have a question from Lewis here. And Lewis says, what are checkout options? When and how are we supposed to use that feature?
Great. That's not something that I had covered in this particular presentation, but it's also another very powerful feature that we wanted to include with Enhanced Ecommerce. So with our checkout funnel, which I didn't show in our demo, you have the ability to configure what your checkout funnel looks like for your business. So whether it's a one-page form or a three-page or three-step form, you're able to configure your checkout funnel based off of how many steps you have in that checkout process. Not just that, you're also able to pass back checkout options per stage. And a checkout option is a very generic term, but one specific example would be, let's say on my payments page, a checkout option would be Visa, MasterCard, Amex.
Right.
So that you can start to say, how do users who are paying with Amex behave? Are they abandoning cart more often or less often? Of course, these can be PayPal or other Google Wallet, etc. Right. And then for other stages, let's say like shipping, a checkout option would represent one-day shipping, overnight, standard business, whatever the specific value is that pertains to a particular checkout step.
Can you then do analysis on those checkout options? So
yes.
Maybe you see that people with Amex are abandoning a lot higher than others. Maybe there's a problem with Amex processing.
Yes, exactly. So the insights that we've seen users be able to derive are, for example, users that select certain shipping methods have certain shipping costs associated with them that they don't know about or are less than pleased with, so they may be abandoning the checkout process for those reasons. So being able to understand how and why users are falling out of the checkout process is, of course, the very key analysis that users are very interested in. So being able to have more insight into the specific values of why people are falling out are really valuable.
and then optimizing those funnels based
Yes.
on those insights. Very cool. So it looks like we have one more question. So last ask, if you have any last questions, make sure you get them in now. This last question is, I have a ton of attributes on my products, which exceeds the GA character limit. What do you recommend?
Yes, so because of all the rich data that you're able to do analysis on, there is a need to actually pass us that data and specify a lot of those different values. And so that can seem potentially very data heavy, or potentially the hits would be very large. But our recommendation here is in fact to use that product data import capability that I referenced earlier. And that's actually building on top of our existing data import capabilities, which allows you to create the CSV file, which is effectively a product catalog.
Right.
You'll have the product SKU or product name, and then all the different attributes associated with it, the category, the brand, the variants, and again, any other custom attribute that you have. You'll send that to us or upload it to us, and then all you need to specify in the hit itself is the product SKU or the product ID. And then we'll actually join all that data on during processing time and then make it available to end users for analysis. So in fact, the hit that you're sending us is very compact. So that's a key feature that we would recommend users to take advantage of if they're running into those character limits.
Awesome. So we did get a few more questions here. So Andre wants to know, any tip on how to measure the impact of shipping cost on conversion rate?
Shipping cost on conversion rate. So there are a couple of pieces, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. One would be to take a look at checkout options. Again, checkout options is something that we've built into the checkout process. Though if you want to leverage a custom dimension or a custom metric, you can absolutely do that as well. And you can, of course, specify this at the product level or what we'd call the hit level or the page level. So for example, if you want to set the shipping cost associated with a specific product, then you can create a custom metric or a custom dimension at the product level, and then create a segment or a custom report to see how that correlates to conversion rates. Alternatively, this can be at that page level or hit level, so that you can see that a little bit more in aggregate. So it doesn't need to be at a per product level. Mm-hmm. That does depend specifically on your implementation and the type of analysis that you're doing. If it is fixed for the whole bundle, then it makes a lot more sense to create that at the hit level, right, and then be able to create a segment or a custom report that again correlates that with the conversion rate.
So that actually reminds me of one of our case studies. I think it's with La Tienda, where they were seeing significant drop off in their shopping funnel, and when they segmented users, they realized that it was really two groups of users: Group A, who lived close to a warehouse, so they had cheaper shipping, mm-hmm, and Group B, who lived further away from a warehouse, so they had more expensive shipping. And I think they did a test, maybe they had flat shipping or something like that, and saw a significant increase in overall checkout rates when they did that, because they were able to segment the data by the drop-off based on shipping rate.
And we've seen another key trend that we've seen in the industry is also in-store pickups. So for specific businesses that have both an online presence and a brick and mortar presence, we're seeing a lot more of the pickup in-store as an option. And again, being able to do analysis on what are the conversion rates for users who are selecting that option versus other options. And again, correlating that with other user attributes like location, mm-hmm, or again, distance from a store or a warehouse. I think that's a really interesting type of analysis that users can start to do.
Yeah, definitely. So Jeremy wants to know, all of the reports and features discussed today are also available for e-commerce within mobile apps, or are they also available? Yes, and sorry, one more part of that is, are there any caveats to watch out for when implementing enhanced e-commerce in an app?
So yes, Enhanced Ecommerce is fully supported within mobile apps, and also with Google Tag Manager for web and for mobile apps. So yes, we have full feature parity across all of our different kind of tracking SDKs. In terms of gotchas with mobile apps, there's nothing that specifically comes to mind. I think when I personally think of mobile apps, I kind of there are kind of two high-level categories of apps. One are kind of truly retail e-commerce centric apps, and then there are others that are more selling virtual goods. And that's a very different type of analysis that users can still leverage enhanced e-commerce for, but it really depends on what type of business you are. For in-app purchases, there's a different, again, type of analysis and use cases that you're looking to do there. And so I have a different set of recommendations for that. No real specific caveats, but I just think the type of analysis that you're trying to do is different. And then for a retail-centric app or a travel app where you're having transactions that are occurring through the mobile app, those are, again, a different type of analysis. But again, nothing comes to mind in terms of a caveat. I will say something that's really exciting about mobile apps is that there's a lot of opportunity for personalization there. And so, again, being able to do rich analysis on your mobile apps is really valuable.
Yep, definitely. So that is all of the questions that we have. Thank you so much for joining us today. I wanted to just say, I mean, your product knowledge here is immense and really helpful for our users. Any last thoughts you wanted to leave with our users today?
No, I just want to thank the community, of course, for all the valuable feedback that a lot of you have given as we've developed Enhanced Ecommerce. We're really excited to see how users are taking advantage of the feature in very creative ways, and we love to hear back from you. So if you have questions or feedback for us, again, we have these different resources to reach out to us. So really excited to have you all taking advantage of Enhanced Ecommerce.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thanks.